Hello and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Iowan UISG Presidential Candidate Debates. I'm Becky B. Ryder. Well, at this point in all the campaigns, we've seen our fair share of debates. But what makes this one special is the national credibility the Daily Iowan has and its reputation for covering all angles of every story, especially campaigns. This campaign runs as follows. The Daily Iowan has compiled a list of questions that each ticket will get 1 minute to respond to. From there, we will ask a follow-up question and again giving each ticket 1 minute to respond. Well, that's enough from me. Let's get to the debate. UI student government controls an $800,000 budget and has a major role in many student activities presented on campus, but its workings are a mystery to many students. What shortcomings in the relationship between UISG and the student body would you address if elected?
That certainly is a great question for many reasons, because I think that in our campaign we've really come to realize that in order to get people to vote, they need to understand that student government really takes an active role in their everyday lives. So what does that mean? That means that we need to help the constituencies and the students realize that student government helps control parking, helps control student organization allocation, and other funding such as that, like you mentioned, the approximate $800,000 budget. What we propose is keeping the funds that the students pay in the students' hands at the end of the year. Currently, at the end of every fiscal year, a certain amount of that money is then allocated into a fund that is administered by the dean. And we would really like to make the funding more accessible through a digital Dropbox in which student organizations could apply online for this funding, and then make it more transparent and accessible to students, and just really become more accountable with our funding through better use of the marketing and public relations executive as well as the website.
You guys are
Question.
Well, definitely I'd have to say one thing we really need to work on is transparency, making it more publicly available with a website, maybe getting a webmaster that would finish the UISG website. It would be definitely a good start. One thing I'd like to elaborate on is actually a digital Dropbox is in the works, and I know it's been a plan of the current administration already. It's just a matter of getting a webmaster in all reality. It definitely is a little hard for students to see where money is going because it is so closed door. Like the minutes to SABAC meetings are available, but they're sitting in 48 IMU instead of being on the website. So definitely the biggest step towards explaining the procedure is actually hiring a webmaster.
Two questions. Can you repeat that question first, please?
Sure. UI student government controls an $800,000 budget and has a major role in many student activities presented on campus, but its workings are a mystery to many students. What shortcomings in the relationship between UISG and the student body would you address if elected?
And can this be, we both answer this? Is that possible?
Okay. Well, UISG is a major part in the everyday student life of students. And recycling money is a good idea, but we want to work on keeping a tighter budget, and we think that would work best for that.
Definitely. And then even from what I understand and what we understand, the rollover of the 30 grand or so a year goes into some very important things. The general fund definitely addresses very important issues, which we don't really want to take away from that exactly. So a tighter budget is definitely what we were looking for. Also, the student organizations, there's 408 student organizations. The money is going to these organizations clearly, and like you addressed, they're not being shown to most of the university. And we're definitely going to work with each individual organization to help them promote themselves. We believe in GLBTIU, we believe in the Asian American Association, Coalition. We believe that they need to be
going on. I believe, oversight of the funding is definitely something that needs to occur. There needs to be a constant communication with these organizations, and they need to be held responsible for what they're doing with the money. Students want to see results. Students want to see impacts from the government that directly affect them. And so I think in order to do that, we need to make sure this money is being used wisely. These groups are held responsible. They're in need of giving student government final draft of what they're going to do with this money, and specifically where they plan to spend it, how they plan to affect their student population, because the students want to see something useful come from their money. And right now, a lot of students are complaining that they're not seeing these results from various organizations, and we need to make sure that the students don't feel this way, because then the students' activity fee, a lot of these mandatory fees that go towards such organizations may not exist anymore. So I think it's definitely important for students to see these results, and by holding these groups accountable, as Shannon was saying earlier too, is very important.
One feature of the next presidential term will be the search to replace President David Skorton. What qualities do you and do you not want to see in the next president of the University of Iowa? This will be directed toward the King's Conference next.
First, I just wanted to start and say that Skorton has done an amazing job. And one thing that I do like about him is that he is very available to the students. And when we are looking for a new president, I want to find that same quality. And I haven't gotten to work with Skorton a lot in the past, but that is one thing that I do like about him.
Definitely. And I think it's a great part of David Skorton was that he was part of this institution because he was a member of the University of Iowa community for a number of years. I think it would be a great idea if there's available a candidate to search within the university itself. So they understand the values of the university, so they understand the drive of the students, what the people want to see. You know, unfortunately, because of the regent's decision, at least the decision so far, to have them be the major role of choosing the next president, that's quite unfortunate. Obviously, the students want to choose who the next president will be, along with the staff and the faculty.
I don't know if you guys have heard that Skorton has been saxophone martinis, so I feel that that's also something that we need to look to in our next president. No, I'm just kidding. But accessibility, definitely. I think it's cool that you get to know that he is kind of around town, that he's on Facebook, that you can go to his house if you wanted to, that during Welcome Week, you can go to his house and have a barbecue and play volleyball in his backyard. I think that the accessibility and his approachability is something that we definitely need to look to in the next president.
Yeah, just expanding on that, that's what students want to see, a president that stands for them. And so we definitely want someone like that to come in here, Skorton. It's going to be a hard person to replace, I'll tell you that. He's been around for a long time, and he's been one of the great presidents here at the university. So it'll be a tough search, but I definitely think it's possible, and we need someone that stands for us. So.
Well, President Skorton is very accessible, and I appreciate that. I personally have very much appreciated that. I also think that he was very different for the University of Iowa because he really understands this community. He understands what we're about. He understands what the University of Iowa has to offer and also where our needs are. And he's really done a good job of addressing that. That is the passion and the understanding for this community that I would like to see in our next president. And that's something that can really be found in part by student input, which is something that we definitely need in dealing with the regents, and also through building positive relationships with the regents so that they see that we're not just solely against them, but that we want to work for them to find the right president for the University of Iowa.
Great. I think I share everyone's sentiment here, Addison, as well, that we are definitely going to be missing President Skorton. He's a rare find. We'll be lucky to get someone as great again, but we should all be very thankful for the time we've had with him here. You know, that's my eulogy for President Skorton's departure. What's important is that the president is the voice of this university to the regents and across the state. We need someone who's going to represent this university to the fullest, to the maximum potential. President Skorton has tirelessly fought for this university, and we need to see someone who is going to share those characteristics. You know, I think that he needs to work closely with faculty, staff, students, and I think that, you know, I agree finding someone from within would be ideal, but we need to look for the best candidate, and we should work closely with the regents and try to find the best compromise possible.
Okay.
Of course, the university will continue along without Skorton, with or without him at the helm. Name an administrator or provide an example of an administrator that you've spoken with in the recent history that you plan on working with again in your term, and how can you use that person as a resource in your presidency?
Big awesome.
All right, definitely we've been talking with the provost. I had dinner with him as well. Talked to him a couple weeks ago. I think he's a key asset to this university. After all, he is right below Scorn, and so I think he's definitely someone we need to stay in touch with. He represents the interests of the students as well, and a lot of issues he's brought up with me are concerns that I'd like to address as well, in terms of the tuition and admission standards and alcohol abuse and safety of the university. And so a lot of these issues are common between administration and students, and they need to be looked at by both sides so that a common solution and a common effort can be put forth. And so Provost Hogan is definitely a person I'm looking forward to talking to, and he has the university in his heart. So.
My answer is Dr. David Grady, who works down in student services. He's been an incredible man, especially working with the IMU renovations. Today we were just out on a walk walking a dog, and I saw him sporting his Oakleys, and that to me represents the fact that he is really in touch with what the students want and what's going on with the student side of things, which is something that we need here on the campus because he does work in student services. But he also has a great touch on the pulse of what is going on within the administration. He understands what it takes in order to make things happen here at the university. He understands the bureaucracy and the paperwork that we have to go through. And so using him as a strong resource here on campus and using the fact that he knows what's going on with the students as well as with the administration is irreplaceable and someone that we need to use even more.
And if I can just supplement that with Dr. Bill Nelson, Director of OSL, is a fantastic resource. He's been a great friend of UISG, and he's going to be around next year. Definitely need to utilize him.
One person I've had the opportunity to work with a lot lately is Vice President Meredith Hayes. She's the Vice President of Research. One thing we're really interested in is a lot more hands-on learning at the University of Iowa. And I've had the opportunity to work with her with what she actually just did down at Missouri before she came here, the creation of Office of Undergraduate Research, which helps get students more involved in their personal departments that they're majoring in, to be able to find funding for the research they would like to do. When she created this at Missouri, it was an outstanding program that so many people really utilized, and it's something I'm really excited that is being created here now to help get students more engaged in their academic fields as well as get more hands-on learning, not only out in the community or in internships, but also inside the academic arena.
And I would like to just echo quickly the Big Awesome Party's president, or Provost Hogan, is a real man of the students. He's fantastic. He's great to work with.
Okay, first I just want to say that I want to agree with Zach and say Bill Nelson is a wonderful man. And Bill had put on a program, it was Student Leadership Institute, put it on with Kelly Ashby and Lucas Christian, and I just want to say that was an amazing experience because I got to build on that. I got to build on that as a person, and ARH got to build on that as a group. We got to collaborate with a bunch of different groups. For example, Dance Marathon. ARH was able to get #1 student organization by doing this collaboration, and I think that was very successful.
I'm going to add to this very quickly. I have had some contact with Dean Jones. I've been working on bringing a conference here at the University of Iowa, bringing up to 200 students from different residence hall associations across the Midwest. Been working with him, and he's been a great asset not only to me, but now to the university as we're going to bring in all of these guests, as you're going to experience truly what the University of Iowa does have to offer.
Thank you. In recent years, UISG leaders have been taking a more active role in lobbying the Iowa State Legislature to represent students' interests and concerns. What aspects of the effort have worked particularly well, and what, if anything, would you change? This is directed towards the IC.
Right, our tuition plan on our website, on our platform, actually really addresses this, because what Mark and Lauren have done so well is initiate a student lobbyist group in order to educate them and inform them about how they can then lobby the legislature. We would like to work more in conjunction with the city council liaison in order to mobilize that group even more, aggrandize it, make it bigger, because that means that the voice and the presence that we have at the Capitol is bigger then as well. We would also like to use that group to get more parents involved, because the fact of the matter is that our state legislators pay more attention to parents because they turn out better at the polls than we as students do. So getting those parents involved would also make a big difference at the Capitol. And then our second prong of the tuition plan would be to then address the regents.
Again, kudos to Mark and Lauren. Their efforts have been really phenomenal this year. I think they have done great leadership with the lobbying effort. One thing that Addison and I are really passionate about is political engagement. And not only is it important that we be a presence in Des Moines, we'd like to see some of those legislators as a presence here. We'd like to bring them to campus. We don't think that students should always have to make the effort to go to Des Moines. They should be coming here. We are constituents of them from across the state. We might be going to school in Iowa City, but we vote in other places. Our families are from other places, and they should, come around here and let us know what their issues are so we can get students excited about politics.
And I'd just also like to say that I actually have been very involved with doing a lot of lobbying. And actually, I'm driving out to Des Moines tomorrow. I'm bringing a couple of people that are in the room right now. We're going to go around. I'm going to present some research, but more importantly, we're going to go talk to a lot of legislators from where I'm from home.
Lobbying is definitely something that we do place great importance on, especially in our platform. As you can see with the very top of our platform, we believe that Mark Kruswick and Lauren McCarthy, like Peter has said, has done a marvelous job really kind of jumpstarting this program. But we need to expand it. There are several regulars that do attend the lobbying, but there needs to be plenty more. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about the lobbying efforts that's available to you that you're able to participate in. I think if we allow people to realize, hey, we're making these great efforts to go to Des Moines, to talk to our representatives, to say this is what we want, this is what we need. It's just going to be a great, great effort of pushing this program. Also, I'm sorry, I'll save it for later.
Yeah, lobbying is definitely a positive thing for our student government here. We need to show that we care. We students care about what goes on here to the state legislators. We need to make sure Des Moines understands that our concerns here are something that need to be addressed. And by sending a lobbying team, we show up there and we tell them, we're here, we're standing for these students at the University of Iowa, and we want you to understand what we're going through. And that's an important message to send. Works a lot more effectively than sending an email or writing a letter. Face-to-face communication is something that must happen here at the university. And I think the lobbying effort is just getting started, and it can definitely amount to some great things for the university here, making sure they understand what we need here.
In our discussions that you had at the DI editorial board earlier, some of you could identify local legislators, some of you couldn't, but I think those folks are already on board. Name a representative in the state of Iowa, and perhaps you could divide your time equally between yourselves. I'd like to hear from all of you on this. And name a representative outside of Johnson County that serves the state of Iowa that you can persuade to join the UI in its efforts, and how will you persuade that person?
Great. Senator Danielson, he's phenomenal. He is, considered perhaps the voice of the future within the Des Moines, the State House Senate. He is a representative from where I'm from in Cedar Falls. He is a real asset to the community. He speaks for students. He works on behalf of the people in the community. And I don't think that Senator Danielson, solely represents his own, just simply the Cedar Falls constituency and part of Waterloo. He's really interested in helping the entire state, and that's why he would be on board with helping the university community, because he wants to make Iowa a better place to live.
I made a lot of rounds this last winter in eastern Iowa, around where I live. A lot of people we talk to are very interested in what the state universities do, such as Polly Gupta, who is from my home constituency in Clinton County. She's very interested in what we've been doing, as well as the other people that are from Clinton that have come to the state universities.
I just want to say that I am looking forward to working with our state representatives, but I haven't had the chance to.
clearly on that flip, so I can't speak a whole lot on his behalf. But I do know through a conversation that he has worked with the lobbying team very well, meeting representatives of the state of Iowa. His contacts that he has made, I cannot say who he has met. Danielson, I'm sure he has met because he has wanted me, Flip Archuleta has wanted me to join the lobbying team and go to Cedar Falls to work with the lobbyists there. But also, Flip has definitely put a lot of his time and energy into lobbying. He doesn't only know city councilors, doesn't only know people on the state level, but he knows people in the administration at the University of Iowa. This guy has already made his contacts that does not need to be made once again, and he already maintains a positive relationships with these individuals.
Could you state the question?
Yeah. I'm curious, I think, to learn how familiar some of you candidates are with lawmakers outside of the University of Iowa's jurisdiction, Johnson County. Although I think yesterday we had some trouble with that too. Name somebody that we had beyond the realm of Johnson County that we can work with or that you would like to work with in the future.
Okay. Well, I don't have any previous experience speaking with them, but family friends are definitely two of the old governors. I'm from Des Moines, and so Governor Robert Ray is close friends with my dad, and then also Governor Branstad. And I was at a Drake basketball game before I came back after thinking of running, and Governor Ray, he's really into the content of character. He speaks a lot about the pillars of character, and he does a lot with NCYL, which I'm sure you all have heard of. And the one thing he told me is to not forget who I was throughout this whole process. And so I know the advice that he gave me in the 2-second conversation I had about this was very beneficial to me. And so I'm sure that in the future he would obviously do great things.
And I'd agree with Peter and Danielson being from Waterloo. We share a common representative there. And I think he's very important to the education in the state as well. By sending me a letter about my academic accomplishments, I feel he's stressed that importance. And that's how I started communicating with him as well. So.
I would say twofold. One, dealing with Representative Kaufman out of Cedar County, I think the proximity that he has to the University of Iowa and a lot of the benefits that he could yield off of an expansion of this university and this town in particular, I think would be one thing to herald. But also, let's not stop just at the representative level. Let's go all the way to the speaker. Speaker Rance, I think, is definitely someone that we should communicate the benefits of the Regent Education Fund, as well as many other representatives. But those two are first.
Currently, 5 of the 7 members of the Iowa City City Council do not support a 21 ordinance for Iowa City's bars, but there is still a concern on the council and in the Iowa City community about excessive drinking and underage drinking in Iowa City. What steps will you take to change the alcohol culture in Iowa City's downtown?
Alcohol is a big problem to this campus, and a bigger problem is safety. If we do have a 21 ordinance, or if we do have a 21 ordinance, where is that going to put house parties? House parties are dangerous, and if we do make bars 21, then more students are going to be pushed to those house parties that are on Governor Street far away that aren't well lit, and bad things can happen, like rape and sexual assaults, and we don't want to put students in that situation because it's not a situation where they would feel comfortable. And I would rather have, I've said this before, but I would rather have my friends at a bar not being able to afford drinks than at a house party paying $5 a cup for an unlimited amount of alcohol. And also, being at a bar, it is monitored, so that would also make it safer.
And yeah, definitely alcohol problem is something we would like to address. And I originated the fact that house parties would skyrocket through the DI a couple days ago, and so that's one concern of mine. By having a 21 ordinance, we're just shifting where the problem is. We're not changing anything, we're just shifting to where this abuse is going to occur. And so I think we're against the 21 ordinance, and if everyone else here is, I definitely see a positive thing happening here with our change in mindset of approaching different ways to accomplish solution to this issue. And one thing we stand for is a reduction in PALA fines. We definitely would like to see community service put to work instead, and that's one program that a lot of universities across the nation have put forth, and it's worked effectively. We've looked in Michigan State's program specifically, and 20 to 30 hours of community service does a lot more than a $300 fine that a lot of parents just pay off in a few seconds. And so physical labor has an enduring effect, and I'd like to see community service put into effect. I think this can help reduce the problem instead of shifting it.
As you said, Becky, it's not looking the way that City Council is set up right now that the 21 ordinance will be in effect, which is good for the students, definitely, and something that we advocate. So that brings up the problem of education. Speaking from my experience as a second year RA, I would say that I have had more than my amount of experience dealing with the consequences of alcohol, and many of those being negative. So what that comes down to is the issue of education and what we can do as students and as student government in order to better educate students as well as provide alcohol alternatives for them. Through our activities fee recycling plan, we would like to maybe then be able to allocate more funds towards students and towards student organizations who are able to put on programs that would interest students that would also be on the weekends. And then we would also just like to work with the Stepping Up projects. We know that they just lost their grant, but we also feel like student presence on that committee is absolutely necessary. And in order to get student presence on that committee, we need to touch on those people who really feel passionate about this issue.
Great. I think a lot of what was just said is something that I've also been advocating for a long time. I want to work with the next Johnson County prosecutor to work on things like community service. I agree with the tool. That is very important. That is going to, help people learn their real lesson than having their parents send it home. And I agree with Shannon. Education is key. I don't know if anyone caught the profile of us today, but I think that I was asked when I started drinking, and I said something like 16. I've been drinking for a while. I had a high school education about drinking, I suppose. A lot of students don't, have a very big drinking culture in their high school, and they come to Iowa City, and all around them is a lot of drinking. It's a shocking change. What we need to do is educate them so that they know there's other options, and so that they understand responsible drinking, because we're never going to stop underage drinking completely.
The Daily Iowan will announce which candidate it officially endorses in Friday's edition of the paper, as it declares which ticket they believe is the best suited to suit the UI student body. Once again, thank you for joining us, and remember to cast your vote on March 6th and 7th on ISIS.